What's up, everybody? This is Pratap. Welcome to Something Extraordinary. Today we have Ishita Gupta with us. She has a variety of different experiences that will help you guys in excelling in your careers.
Hi, Tanishq. Hi, everybody. So for me, I am having an expertise in AI/ML field, and I've been doing my bachelor's in information technology from IGTTO, initially based in Delhi. Post that, I've been having an internship experiences in Triple IT Allahabad along with Stanford Mura Lab, escalating me in my second year to get an internship at JP Morgan, where I worked for roughly 1.5 years at multiple locations, Delhi, Bangalore, and different kinds of lines of businesses, including corporate technology, community and chase bankings. And moving forward from that, I thought that, there's something more to do in the world and I can contribute something significantly, which made me move for my master's at Cornell. And I applied there and I got into admission over there. And my past year, where I was doing my master's at Cornell, has been a mix of different domains apart from fintech. I'll be working as a researcher with the hospital school, the radiology department of Cornell, where we have been building VLM machines on based on your CT scans, on your radiology reports. And post that, I've also been working with the NYC Mayor, where they have been working on the housing department, solving reinforcement learning issues and optimizing their resource allocations and the cost optimizations that they are looking for. And I've also been working with the hospitality sector, where I was working with the IHG groups to figure out anything they want to search in their compliance documents in the most fastest way possible using drag retrieval techniques and other stuff. So that was me that I was working as in the past 24, 23 years. And I currently am looking forward to build my own company and start something noble if I can. Yeah, that's about me.
So, apart from that, your LinkedIn and X presence, what are the things that you can say that these are differentiating you from the online presence to the offline presence?
For my online and offline presence, I try to be the same person. But for my LinkedIn, if I'll start with my LinkedIn is more optimized to reach out very professional kind of candidates out there, which talks more of my resume in depth about what exactly if I'm doing under all these other domains that I've been working on and how I'm actually contributing to it. What is the real impact or what my day to day looks like whether it's an event that I'm going to. So I post about that. Is there a competition? Like I won Google Hash Code and I've been a finalist for the SIH and everything. So that's been updated on the LinkedIn. So that's a very professional presence. For Twitter, I'm more towards the technical founders and I like to connect with people over there who has great technical expertise, but they are very new at the builder stage. So they want to create something builder like amazing, and but they do have a trouble in their execution. They are trying to fit the right kind of people. So Twitter is the space where I kind of tend to find the people who are in my age and they're looking for similar possibilities and they grow together by helping each other. So that's how I segregate both of them. So when I post in Twitter, I prefer to have more engaging posts where I am asking for people's opinions or asking for help rather than just keep posting about my opinions, so that I make sure that I'm ingesting about how the world is actually thinking about it and there is something to learn from there as well. So that's how I keep both of these separate. While in my personal life, I am little more jollier as compared to both of them. I love traveling, exploring, having food, and yeah, that's what I do.
Apart from that, I saw that you have experience in a lot of different domains. Apart from that, getting into Cornell specifically, how did you get into Cornell and which kind of experiences had you get in, and also why did you choose it?
Yeah, so for Cornell journey, master's was not a plan that I had initially right after bachelor's, but it eventually built. Like I had my friends over, and when I jumped into JP Morgan, and then it showed me an international exposure. I saw that there was a possibility while you move abroad, you can have a more, I'll not say a leverage of opportunities, but a different kind of opportunities to explore. And being young at an age with no responsibilities, I wanted to explore that. So that's where the concept of studying at a higher education, doing that, came into picture. And how and why I got into Cornell, I applied to multiple universities. So again, US was never the prime objective to be in. I applied to UK, I applied to Europe, I applied to US. It's like 4 or 5 colleges in each of the places. And I got acceptances from a lot. Like I got acceptances from Edinburgh, Manchester's in UK. There was people from Amsterdam, TU Delft, TU Munich that I applied in Europe. And even in US, I applied to different other colleges. It was Stanford, here, Cornell, there was NYU, Columbia. And what made me select Cornell was a different story. Okay, one more thing that I had to specify about what made me lead to these experiences. I'm not exactly sure because the application is very selective, but I think what got my application selected was the collectiveness of the experiences that I had. So my course was primarily focusing on entrepreneurship and AI, along with some research background, and I think I had all of them in my profile, so which made me a kind of a fit, and I think that they accepted me. I'm still not very sure, but yeah, I think that was the reason. So I had experiences. I working as a researcher in the Stanford lab in Triple IIT Allahabad. I had experiences from JP Morgan working in a professional environment in different types of scenarios, which was also a leverage. I'd also tried starting building my own company in kind of a quick commerce and fashion while I was doing my bachelor's. So that also I think did help. I had certifications from Microsoft. AWS scholars, Google hash codes, and I had won a lot of hackathons, Rakuten hackathons, company level hackathons, and other niche hackathons that keeps happening on day-to-day basis. So I think this was the collective performance that helped me lead to that. Also, I feel that recommendation from legitimate sources and people who are trustworthy and have higher positions in the domain that they are in and whose words really matter, who can verify that you have been a credible source, is also a very important aspect of your application process while you're applying for higher education. So that is what got me into Cornell. And why did I particularly choose Cornell? If I answer that, is Cornell's course was very diverse. Like, as I evaluated a lot of other courses in the UK or US, they are very specific to one sort of opportunities in the future, whether it can be employment given opportunities or research opportunities. And the courses are also segregated that way. And they're very specific and they choose the niche for you as it's in Georgia Tech or other universities. But for Cornell, it has a speciality always that you can choose from a varied courses. So I also attended classes what MBA people were doing. I also attended classes what data science people were doing, or what people from urban planning were doing, or the healthcare segments were doing. So that was the diversity that you get while you study at Cornell, which was very outstanding. And when I'm talking particularly about my course of Masters of Engineering, I was given the opportunity to do work as a researcher, to work as a person who's working in the enterprise software directly with the big corporations like IHG, and somebody who's also contributing to the government, somebody who has learned entrepreneurship. So our course entirely, like it was a 9 months course, we had 2 semesters, and every semester we did contribute substantially towards building our own startups, courses online or offline or any university. So that is something that stood apart, which was like a really this age type of a course, which is required, and it helps you develop certain skills which normal studies or books can't. So I think that's what stood out. And as or what they suggested and what I predicted, everything was did came to use, and it was something that I would still suggest people to do it.
Like as you said that there is more kind of a skill-based exposure in these kind of courses. Like you said,
Mhm.
there is entrepreneurship, there is AI involved, there is practical exposure to startups, building it by your own hands. So, what kind of things that you saw in those kind of education, which is in Cornell, and which is lacking mostly in India when you were studying in India? Like, what are the differences that you can see, like visibly through your own eyes, when you are doing something? You can just identify the differences right away.
Yeah, for that, I'll say one of the most substantial difference, which everybody knows, is like US is a lot more hands-on and training-based learning as compared to India, where it's still bookish. I'll say both of these are very important. Like if I would not have been pressure tested with IITJ environment, where I'm put into a high-pressure environment, I'm asked to mock a lot of stuff, which had definitely increased my memory power. All of these would not have been possible. So these are very two different sort of criteria that we have, and both of them are important. This is one thing that India has. One thing what the US has and India still is not up to the mark for it is the practical applications. Like while I was in my class, I used to have early morning lectures as well from this people who have built the World Wide Web, the www, or the one who was a part of the .com bubble, who evaluated whether the web should be taken into consideration or not, whether product should be launched or not. So the level of expertise that we get over here firsthand from the person who's just right ahead of you, explaining you that stuff like this. There are Nobel Prize winners who are attending your lectures, who have been a part of the revolution back like 20, 30 years back, are now here teaching you from their own experience, is something which I feel is not there in India yet, because of people who are not coming there or teaching there because of XYZ reasons that are present. But this first hand experience where you get from the people themselves is missing. So if this is incorporating, I think the India's education system will be much better.
As you said that there are a lot of things that are still needed to be incorporated in Indian education system, apart from like pressure testing people with studies and rote learning. So what do you think high pressure environments, how do they help you in execution and practical exposure when you go into US? Because we have seen a lot of people who are from India are doing really good in US.
I think one of the things that I see is like Indians are really smart, and the concept of that jugaad comes into help a lot of times, whether you are in US, UK, or any place. And you just learn how to make your way out through any situation. So while people here, I still will be figuring out logical stuff or practical stuff or stuff like that. Indians are very hands on. If they know something that this is the location that they need to reach or this is the destination they're supposed to reach, anyways and anyhow they'll make a way through it. And that is something I feel that is why Asians or Indians just make their way out to the top locations. And coming to the pressure points, I think um, because we have a lot of expertise in mocking up things, or being in a pressure tested environment, it helps us challenge a lot, and we outgrow situations where it's a high pressure environment. So in office we need to take instant decisions, we are very hands on into it. If we are in an exam environment, we need to take a call and be prepared for an exam. We are the ones who outperform Chinese, Asians, and Indians are some of the outperformers that we had in our college as well. So I think that is what bring helps us more than just the practical knowledge, and that is the reason we outshine.
There is some kind of Tata scholarship in Cornell.
Mhm.
So did you get it, or like how do people get it?
So Tata scholarship is there, but it's only for the bachelor students. If you're doing your bachelor's in Cornell, you are eligible for the scholarship recipient for Tata. So you just apply it, and it's a pretty good scholarship, which almost waives off 50% of your a tuition fee as far as I guess. But I did not evaluate a lot because I was not eligible. So if you're in your master's and especially M engineering, you are not eligible for the Tata scholarship. While Cornell themselves offer you a good merit scholarship, and which ranges to a significant amount, which is not a lot, but it is a significant amount. And you can apply for that on their portals only while you are applying for your application. And that is through when I got a merit scholarship while I was entering for my master's.
How these kind of people evaluate on the basis of merit when they're evaluating applications?
No, I'm not exactly sure because, like, it's been a wide variety. You cannot basically comment about why the person exactly got into a Google, or you have seen people that who are not that good in DSA might also have cracked some great opportunities because of their extra other skills as well. And some people who have been extraordinarily being great have selected NYU and other stuff as well. So it's very hard to comment about how universities are choosing you. But what I feel, it overall depends about how your statement of purposes is, how your recommendations were, what your track record has been, have you been proving what you have been saying, what your resume says. So collectively, all the mix of 4 to 5 things, whatever you are submitting, makes up your entire application.
India has a scenario where there is a like placement thing. Okay, placement. Foreign universities, I have like heard from some people that there is nothing called like placement thing. Like people have to network on their work on their own to get the place. How does this thing changes you as a person when there is a spoon-fed placement cell, which will give you a placement, which will bring the companies in, and there is something where you are not getting the companies in, you have to find a network and then get into
I think both of them have their own pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. Because here, when you are in a Cornell environment or in an international university over here, you are measured by your net worth, and it's not always targeted towards getting a one particular job. So it's open and wild about any domain that you want to. So the ultimate goal here while you are studying, or in fact with the peers I was studying, was not to get a job finally. So it could be a business that they are supposed to run, it could be the next PhD that they are supposed to do, or it could be even the voluntary projects from the non-profit organization they just met and collaborated in college or outside college and they want to willingly contribute to. So the number of options that you have to explore is not just limited to the job, and that is, I think, the reason that universities don't have a placement cell. But they do also have something called, where a career development sector, the management committee that we have in each of the universities here, we do have career fair where the jobs and the companies come to us and you can sit and interact with them and figure out if there is a position that you might be interested in if you're looking for a job. So we have that twice in a year. So which is similar to the placement cell and the placement season that we have back in India. And while I talk about the career management, they also help you figure out about what you exactly want in life. It could be anything, as I mentioned. It could be that you want to be a nurse, a doctor. You don't want to go into engineering. So they help you figure that out. So it's not just limited to a job, which opens a lot of more horizons and make sure that you are pursuing about what you should be pursuing. So that is the good part of it. But the bad part of it is, again, if there is no proper placement cell, networking becomes very important. And while studying, you are supposed to attend events, you are supposed to talk to a lot of people, which does build your net growth, which helps you build your net worth, which you are talking to a lot of people. You might be talking to the chief product officer of NVIDIA, you might be talking to the chief product of Apple. You get that leverage, you help you grow yourself that way. But also it's not ensuring you a very selective pool where the chances of getting selected into a job is high. So that is the con. You do grow your net worth, but the pool is extremely huge. It's entire universities in the entire US where you have to be selected from, so you have to be extraordinarily good. So it builds you, but again the pool is huge, so you need to make sure that you make the best out of it. And while the India's placement cell is better because again the pool is extremely small, so it might be a bunch of 300 students, 400 students at max, which makes you to just outshine them, and then you can have a very good CGPA, one or two internships, and the people recognize you, be extremely good at DSA problem solving. Getting an interview is easier when we are coming and talking about placement cells, because it's very targeted to your university. So I think those are the pros and cons, where here you increase your net worth, get a more independent decision about what you exactly want, rather than just looking at the job perspective, and build your network. In India, having a placement cells gives you a very selective pool and helps you easily shine and get noticed by the recruiters themselves. So that's how I would see them.
how did you get into JP Morgan?
Yeah, for JP Morgan, it was through a hackathon, but like again, the college placements that helped me. So they bought this hackathon opportunity, which I think JP Morgan selects few colleges that they can be a part of this national hackathon. So they conduct a Code for Good hackathon, which and reach out to particular colleges to participate. I'm not sure if you can participate in it if you are not in that college or not. I would still have to check, but it do reaches out to some colleges. And once it reach out to your colleges, the colleges reach out to the students. And there are two levels before getting selected for the hackathon. One is the DSA round where you're supposed to solve normal basic questions. It also includes maths to a certain level. And then moving to the next round, if you pass the DSA round and the maths round, it's the next round where you are evaluated based on your virtual screening interview. They ask you some specific pressure tested questions about what you'll do in this particular environment or what is your project on this. And it can vary, I think, interview to interview, and it's like AI assisted probably. So there's a virtual level interview. And once you qualify both of them, they move you up to a hackathon, which is a 24-hour hackathon where you have nonprofit organizations coming up with problem statements. You select your problem statements, you select your own team. And once you've done that, you are supposed to give it a productionized view and aspect at the end of the 24 hours. And depending on that, you have winners. Winners are also awarded by iPads, I think, at when I participated. So that's how rewarded along with the internship of offers and stuff. So that's the entire process, how it looks like. And at times, you're also evaluated on how you are actually working in a team, or how you're approaching real time problems while you're working inside the hackathon in that pressure tested environment. So that is one thing, that's how the roadmap will be. So if anybody wants to apply, I will suggest, you look for such opportunities where recruiters are hiring through hackathons, or if it's an external thing, or you're asking your college if they could ask JP Morgan to come if it's not coming. And then you interact with them. So that's how you can reach. There is also hackathons conducted by Morgan Stanley, which I think is in the similar order. And make sure you're prepared for your DSA, how your leadership skills are, how you're building in like a web development or AI platform in real time basis as you do in a hackathon. And you obviously a good perspective so that you're a fit for the company in the virtual interview.
Like as you said, there is a DSA round involved. So
Mhm.
apart from like all these things, like soft skills, like leadership qualities and other development qualities, DSA forms a very major role in getting jobs, at least in tech. How much DSA is exactly required to crack these kind of companies that you have cracked, especially JP Morgan and others?
Yeah, for JP Morgan, I don't think the essay was a very substantial part because it had a lot of other aspects as well, and it was a cumulative profile. But obviously, if you're targeting non fintech companies, or even product based or service based companies, they are more targeted towards high end DSA questions or competitive questions. So, how much DSA is too much DSA will not be the right question, I think, but rather something like, what is your exact niche where you're trying to filter out? Because I wanted an internship in fintech, and I loved how JP Morgan would work, or something like a banking cooperation work. So I targeted that and I achieved that, and I really loved working it, which led to a PPO conversion and everything thereafter. So it all ultimately leads to about what exactly you want, which type of companies. So if you're targeting companies like Google and Adobe or something like that, Meta and everything, they ask really high end lead code questions. So make sure you're doing and you're really good at it. And there are other companies who are just taking from hackathons as well. So even when I went a Rakuten hackathon, there were people who were directly hiring from the hackathon itself. There was no DSA round involved. So again, it depends. So your level of preparation, I think you should, like, it can be fun or not fun at times, but the kind of companies that you're targeting, you should prepare yourself according to that. You can search online questions, see about the level of preparation that you require.
There are a lot of networking opportunities in the US, and also like apart from US, like if you were in India and you had to network like US, suppose,
Mhm.
and you are in a US university which do not have very good placements, you don't have a good placement set. You have to network like you network in the US to get a job, and you have to get good at that skills also, like DSA and all these technical skills also. So how do you manage all these things apart from maintaining a good CGPA?
So I think maintaining good CGPA comes with that, you should have a decent CGPA. I'll not say an extremely like a 10 CGPA is required, but something about 8.59 will be something which will I will consider decent depending on how your college works. So that is important while you're studying, and just good for the parents also, I guess. So that is one part, and also considered CGPA. I think comes more into picture when it's in the placement cells because easy to compare. But when I'm talking about networking, go shoot on LinkedIn, cold email outreach, and talk to people. But considering how saturated the market is for the cold emailing and outreaching as well, so make sure you have something substantial. You are an outlier, and you make sure to prove a point about why they should be selecting you rather than all other candidates that are present there. So if you're doing everything what your college mates are doing, and it's just basic studies and just the DSA, I don't think that will work out because it's not making you stand out in the entire crowd. So if there is anything, it might be some extremely great research paper you published. It could be a good patent that you had in your name. It could be an internship experience. It could be multiple hackathons. It can be ICPC level competitions that you won. Anything which makes you stand out, or a good star ranking at hacker ranks or lead codes and stuff like that. Anything which can say that, I am the best candidate amongst the 10 candidates that you can see, make sure that you have something like that on your resume. Once you have that, you have the ability to cold reach. Whenever you're cold reaching, make sure you prove your point about why you're better, and keep it crisp and short. Don't waste a lot of time with the people who's reading it. Nobody's going to read passages. Cold email it, get email recruiters from your friends who are already into companies, or your seniors who are there. And if moreover over that, just reach out on LinkedIn, shoot out to people. People really respond, they're very helpful. Ask for referrals, ask for if they have opportunities. And before asking them, make sure you're asking for advice rather than just straight up asking for them, can I get a referral? That's not something I would suggest. Ask for an advice, build a relationship, and then pursue something about what you want from them. And if you can help something in return, that will be also amazing. So I think that is what makes a person stand out, and what I would do if I was in a position like that.
The point is like what happens is now India is a very big market, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like I think the kind of population India possesses, have the other competitor is only China. That's it, and they have some cow type. So they
Yeah.
have same kind of issue, like huge market, huge competition. Apart from these kind of population based things, what did you see in the US that was specifically related to the population density? Because like US is a very less population density than India. So what differences did you see due to just that factor? That one.
Like, I don't know. I was based in New York before this, and I think it's again a city of immigrants like Delhi. So you have people from all around the world, and I don't think, like, well, if that question might be valid, because if you're living in the suburbs like Texas or something like really suburbs where you can't see people kilometers that you search for. But while I was in US, I never felt that there was like a very less population, because the subways are crowded. The city is always walking and up on their toes 24/7. So I will not be the right person to answer this question, but probably somebody who has lived in the suburbs, and they can figure out something like that. But one thing I can say is, because India has a lot of population, the labor cost is really cheap. And because of that, a lot of businesses like quick commerce, or doorstep returns, doorstep delivery, and Uber Eats, anything which is talking about the efficiency, you are getting Blinkit in like 10 minutes. All of these was not possible in New York. So there's nobody who's coming home to deliver you. There is DoorDash, there is Uber Eats, who comes and delivers you, but it still takes a lot of time because they have multiple deliveries for a single person, single vendor who's doing it. So I think this is where I can substantially say that there was a huge difference. So there's no house help. So all these basic amenities where the Indians leisure, and I think take it for granted, even I did, is something that it's missing over here.
Okay. So there are memes actually, showing on all over Instagram that I made it to foreign land, but Blinkit didn't. so
Yeah, I mean, you feel the need for it. I mean, that is the first need I felt when I was here. So, what you have to do is, when I came here, I ordered some things, and they were like, I was like, I did not like them, and I had to return them. And they were like, you have to go to the store and return them, which made no sense to me. So, that was where my first startup instinct came. We started a product our own, where it picks up the product from your location, drops it to the nearby store. And when people used to come and ask me, like, why do you need it? Because US people did not get the concept. They're like, yes, I might need this, but I don't understand why do you people need it. And it was like, we were a group of 3 to 4 people. And it was like a bunch of Indians and Asians and Chinese included. And we all of them were like, this is basic, because India and China has so many people and labor available that the labor cost is very cheap. So we could not even identify that why this is not an issue over here. So yeah, I mean, that is like a need. If 1 o'clock at night I want to eat something, half of the places are closed. Which is not the case in India. You can just zip to it and it gives you an instant delivery. So that is something I even missed. So yeah.
okay. Uh, Apart from these kind of things, like quick commerce and all, like you said that in the like bachelors, you tried to make a quick commerce kind of thing, right? As you said.
Mhm.
So in that time, like how did you get into this idea? Because in those days, I think if I'm not wrong, these Blinkit and Zepto and all these things were flourishing. And
I don't know, I'm not that old. Hello, Blinken and Zepto was there.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so Blinken and Zepto were there, but they were very, like, they just got started. I mean, I think it just got started like 2 to 3 months back or stuff like that. So it was very particular on just the grocery delivery. Okay, so you can order groceries, it will deliver groceries to you. It was that initial stage where these people started, and they did not deliver any clothes, nothing like that. So while they were doing this, and there were a lot of, being a girl, when you open the cupboard, and you were like, I have an event to go to, I don't have anything to wear, I need my clothes right now. So that's a constant problem everybody faces. So that's where I was like, that if you could have e-commerce and quick commerce for, delivery and or delivery of your groceries and everything, why can't you have it for the fashion? So I made sure, was trying to develop something where you have quick commerce for the fashion industry. So I had a mentor. She was from Germany, and I just connected with her online through some of the fellowships that I had, and where she was like, okay, if you feel the need, if you feel the pain, let's start building something on it. And that's where I collaborated with few vendors from nearby my streets, build catalogs, build a website, and where people can actually order. But it was very initial stages. And right now, like, concepts like Mintra 60 and everything came later. So yeah, that's something I think you can do. So you can, if you want, you can just reach out to people, try evaluating what your personal niche is. So whenever you have to think about a startup, I start the first thing, even I'm taught in Cornell or here or anywhere I go to, even in SF I am right now. The first thing that comes into picture is, what is the problem that you want? Like Facebook and everything started because they wanted an interaction platform between the friends themselves. They never imagined a multi-billion-dollar company what it is today. So yeah, for that space, just try to start with something what you really think that, this should be the case, that I really want, should have existed, so I'm creating it.
For Indian students specifically, like who want to move abroad, the advices that you can give, and what are the things that you can tell them to do beforehand to get into these kind of research opportunities that you got into Stanford, this kind of networking that you got with Germany person as mentor when you're in bachelor's, getting into Cornell and getting all these offers like JP Morgan, winning hackathons, like which kind of advices that you can give to these fellow people who are studying in India or about to start their bachelor's degree?
Yeah, I'll say that try to take as much opportunities as you can, whatever your college has to offer, and do that first. So make sure you're evaluating whatever, being very active in society. So my societies were not that active, but I've seen private universities having amazing ACM clubs, IEEE clubs. Be active part of those clubs and societies. Reach good leadership positions. It teaches you a lot of things, how you're interacting with people, how you're handling that people, and it does matter on your resume. Always try to create some substantial impact, not just for your own good, but also for the people outside. And if you want to try and apply, and if you want to reach out to, like, foreign universities, make sure your CGPA is good. CGPAs matter when you're applying for higher education, so that is important. Try publishing research papers as well, because I feel that has a significant impact on your application. So try working on different research papers. While you're working on different research paper, try doing it with a legitimate source under triple IITs or IITs and IITs. And if not that, MIT has internship offers, summer schools. Other higher colleges, universities like here abroad have, international exposure events in summer or winters, and for 2 months or 3 months, try to get into that program. So which shows your credibility. Is like, if I would have done an internship in Berkeley, or I would have done a exchange program in Berkeley, it obviously elevates my performances and my application. So try to do something like that. So, like, basically, make use of your college resources, clubs, universities, teachers. If there's anybody credible, try to get attached with them, build relationships. Then be active part of the research publications you're doing. Research can be in any domain, and specific to your domain, what you're trying to figure out ahead in life. And it could be clubs or associations with any kind of foreign universities that you can be a part of, exchange programs, summer schools, summer internships. NUS has summer paid summer internships, you can be a part of that. So do that. Then I will say try to create impacts, have patents if possible, work with hospitality sector or hospitals, anybody where you can see that, I know this particular skill. Like for me, it was always been like, I know this skill that I have. If you think in your organization I can make an impact, I will work for you, work for free, not only for money. Create and build that again, a rapport which is putting you as an outlier into the society, and which will help you in your masters. Why you should do masters? Evaluate it yourself, I will say. Make sure you know what you want and map it to the university and see if it's giving you what you are actually willing to get, not just for the sake of moving abroad and having a differentiating. The What I felt it, or what I wanted it from the masters universities, were an international exposure. I like my class had roughly 4 Indians in the entire batch of 500 people. So there were people from 72 different countries. So which was an extreme international exposure. You learn how different countries function, how people from different countries think. So that is very good when if you're leveraging it. The second thing is the way of education is very different. So you make sure you're adapted to that. It's very hands-on. You have a lot of, different kinds of stuff. Here, hands-on, we had gone to, I mean, mental hospitals as well to do some voluntary work, help them, identified problems with them, and then try to solve it. So if that excites you, yes, that's your thing. While also make sure you're applying to the right location. Like it's very, your college should be in a good location. That's what I think, because it helps you grow. If it's for bachelors, if you're trying to apply, I will not say that college, the location should be very prominent. Even if it's a college town, it's okay, because it's the friends, the kind of friends that you'll make, that's important. But if it's masters and stuff, I feel the location of your college, if it's in a proper city rather than in an isolated place, it gives you more opportunities to interact with different big tech companies, be a part of different lot hackathons that are happening in the city and all. So make sure your city also, I give a slight preference, whether it is US and UK. Even in US and UK, make sure they both have different kinds of, again, education system. UK is again more research and thesis based. So if you like that, apply to UK more rather than US is what I would suggest. So yeah, I think keeping all these into considerations, do it. And also while you're in your college and you are building relationships, it will help you get recommendations from really good people. So that is also one thing which will impact your applications.
Suppose like you had like since you have like AI and entrepreneurship based education, so suppose you had to build a startup, suppose 3 months from now. Okay. What are the problems that you will solve, and how will you approach the problems? Like, which problems do you choose? Why are you choosing those problems to solve? That is the first thing. And what is the approach that you are going to take to solve the problem exactly? Which kind of team members would you recruit if you had to? And how the networking will happen with VCs and raising capital and all.
Yeah, for the building of this startup, like that's what the phase I am in right now. I am ideating a lot of ideas. And one thing that has been taught to me, which I really love, is like don't fall in your first idea that you have in your mind, don't fall in love with that, but just shoot your idea. Something or the other will happen. Considering there's so many people working in the AI domain, everything majorly has a solution. So it's very difficult to find something where you can create a novel approach, where you can see something, a vision, what other people can't see. But while I've been ideating, I feel that there's one more issue. A lot of people commit to a lot of things that will build some extraordinary things, but when it comes to the execution, they're not able to execute it properly. So make sure you can execute about what you can say. You have a certain kind of a practical roadmap more than just a vision in itself. So that is very important. And how will you actually ideate is one very important step we used to do while we were back in Cornell. Is like you take an Excel sheet. Basically, we used to call it a Darwinator. So you use an Excel sheet, shoot hundreds and thousands of ideas that you have in each of the domains that you have, even the stupidest idea, even the silliest idea that you can have, but something where you feel that you need it, and this is an idea which can happen in the market. Forget about competitors, forget about anything, but just shoot your ideas into the Excel sheet. And it when once that you have that, start using the Excel sheet to rank them on the basis of their order. So what is your preferences, and select top 20 to 20 25 ideas from that. then further grind on that ideas deeper about if you had to make those ideas better, how will you do that? Narrow it down to 10 ideas and ultimately settle on 2 to 3 ideas, doing the same process as in the funnel method. So that will help you get an idea about what domain or what exact idea you can figure out. And once you've done that, you have certain 2 to 3 ideas, then go on a customer discovery. Like while I was back in Cornell, what we used to do, like I've done several times, we had to build an app for nutrition. So there is a concept called a farmers market over here where, people, it's like a local market in the US. So we used to go stand in the market, interview the people who are buying those healthy fruit items, the shop owners that were there. We used to all interview them in the sun. So we used to go to the gym. We used to just break into the gym, ask people questions. It was very irritating for people, but we do it to know that whatever ideas that we are thinking is actually a problem or not. So that is very important. You cannot just say that, okay, this is my problem, I love it, I will do it. That's not the only thing. Make sure you have a customer, especially if it's a B2C business. So that is very important. If even if it's a B2B business, go reach out to LinkedIn. Like I just had a conversation with an NVIDIA's head right now before this call, where I was evaluating some ideas with him. So just go ahead, shoot, ask people what exactly are they facing, if they are actually facing that problem or not. So that's how it will help you ideate. When it comes to the right exit, and also one more time. So if you have done all this, use ChatGPT, AI, Claude, everything for your market research. It has significant amount of knowledge, so it help you iterate and validate as well. So do 2 things, like I'll say, talk to customers, talk to real people, and use AI at the most optimal use, even for ideating. And that will be the steps. And once you have done this, how will you network post this is go out again, shoot on LinkedIn, use your contacts that you have, use intros. So if for example you know a person who might be in Amazon, so I'll ask you, I know you, I'm credible, please get me introduced to her. So you can use those intro methods, and that X person will solve the issue that I'm trying to see and will help me solve it, something like that. So do that. I mean, that's how you get your network built from X to XYZ person. And yeah, that's something that you should do initially. So have a good proper idea is something what I believe, rather than just an AI or a chat GPT wrapper, which will not make any sense if chat GPT launch another feature in the next month. So yeah, I mean, that's how it works for me.
People who are not into AI domain, like they do not have that much sufficient knowledge to work in the domains hands-on. For example, building an email model hands-on, building something hands-on. So
Mhm.
a lot of times, what happens, you have to collaborate with people who are technically sound in those kind of domains. Right? So in those kind of cases, what happens is sometimes you have to use strategies to make the deals uh, like beneficial for both the parties. Right? So, if you were in that situation, you had just a management degree, and you wanted somebody to execute for you and become a co-founder. Like, how do you convince that person for that, if that would be the case?
So I think technical people are a lot obsessed about what they are working and they really love doing it. So you can ask them to code at 3 a.m. in the night, they'll get up and code it for you if they really love it. So that's the kind of co-founder that I was also looking for, and I really love it. And the thing is, so if you're looking for a co-founder and if you're in a management degree and you want a technical co-founder, that is the kind of person that you should look for. And once if they're excited to this level, for example, I am doing something in basic prediction modeling, okay, or graphs, for example. So I will try to figure out a person who's technically very excited about graphs. So I will not have to convince him that, let's do something, but he'll be like, okay, I'm trying to make an impact, which is amazing. And I'm trying to work on a very strong, complicated problem or something where my technology is actually being seen by people. Like being a coder myself, I love it when I build something and people are actually using it and there are no bugs. So that is something I love, and that's what people normally love. So if a CTO or a person who has technical expertise is willing to ship anything and everything that he wants, and the other person who's the CEO or something wants something to be seen. So that's how I segregate both the roles. One with the management degree should have excellence and expertise in selling the product, in shipping it, making it look like it's really great. And the CTO should be a person who is supposedly get up 3 a.m. in the night, 2 a.m. in the night, work on the problem like crazy. So, and if you are supposed to make somebody work like crazy at any hour of the day, what you're supposed to do is that person should be very much interested in it. And how will you find somebody who's very much interested in it? The CEO or the management guy should figure out about the domain he's targeting to the exact problem, reach out to the people in the same domain. So if I am targeting somebody with graphs, for example, I'll go on LinkedIn, see who has worked on the graph networks and stuff, reach out to them that this is the problem. I think that you can solve this for me. Let's work on it together. Or, search on research papers who have worked and published research papers on it. See that this person has already done theoretically what I was trying to do practically. Let's talk about it if he can implement that for me. Or yeah, go on Twitter. I searched on Twitter, loved it. I got crazy response. So you can go there. You can search on LinkedIn. You can ask your networks to see that if I'm searching in this space, if there is somebody else or not. So yeah, you can look in this way. So you know who to search for and if that person is interested or not.
Uh,
Yeah.
like suppose you had zero network. Okay? Just suppose.
Hmm.
Okay. So you are in your first year of college. You have zero network. Okay. Be it India, US, you can just choose. So how will you start networking? Like from day one, both online and offline.
The first basic thing is you go and talk to people. They'll always have somebody to say something. Okay, people love talking rather than listening. So you just go in events, hackathons, and your meetups and everything, and just go and talk. I'm a person who's just started, and what are your advices, or how are you doing this particular thing? Do your research about if you are using like specific coffee chats or one-on-one meetups. Research on that person and see that what he's building. Try to question and learn from his or her experiences. So that is how you can network. If it's like basic, you don't have any plans or something, you just want to know as much people as you want to, and for that you should know about what is interesting. So many mistakes people do is like, I want to network, that's the only thing they know. But you're talking to anybody and everybody that you see, which is not the case. So if the person who's working in front of me is not interesting to me, you will eventually lose interest in that person and you'll not maintain that relationship, which is not good. So anybody and everybody you're commuting to, and especially reaching out for one-on-one coffee chats, make sure that they have something interesting in their profile which is making you excited about them. Talk about that. It will help build that network. If you're going to random events, talk about anything. Have small talks, have a lot of small talks. So that is going to make you a great communicator. And yeah, be in the rooms where you feel that you're the smallest person. I think I recommend that because you learn a lot in that room. Once you learn that, you can apply in your college and everything. You can boost your own confidence as well. So you can do that. But yeah, for networking, just look for advisors everywhere you can get.
What is the last message that you can like tell people so that who are very young in their career, like starting out, like very very young, like what should they do if you have like a roadmap of something like step by step guide.
Yeah, I will not say step by step because I feel that everybody has their own roadmap depending on what they want. But one mission that I'll say that everybody should have is to have something substantial out of their life. For me, it was like creating an impact because if you help somebody, I feel that's if for everyone that I've talked to, and I feel it continues to everyone. If you even help a beggar, it brings a smile to your face. So to bring a smile on your face, you need to bring a smile to somebody else's face. And for that, you need to create something substantial and have an impact, whether it's in the domain of technology or in the domains of sales, anything that you're doing. So if it can help even one person, make sure you do that and have a mission to help people every day. And it will help. Having this mission in your head, you will eventually do a lot of stuff which normal people would not do. It will automatically make you outstanding and an outlier. It will automatically build your network because you can be in the rooms where people have that same mindset. So yeah, just try to help people around.
Last thing, you told me something about intro, like you give an like you just talk to somebody and tell them to give an intro to that other person. How do you do that?
Oh, yeah, as I give an example, for example, you know somebody from Amazon, but I have zero contacts in Amazon. And but I know you well, right? I've had a conversation with you twice or thrice. And I come to you know that there is this job opening, for example, in Amazon, and I want a referral and I want a very credible referral, not just outreaching somebody. So I'll come to you that this is something I'm looking forward. Can you help me with that? And you'll be like, oh yeah, I know this XYZ person from Amazon. I'll just reach out to her and check if she wants it. So you go to that person and you're like, I have a friend Ishita who's looking for a referral. She has this in her resume. If you think that she can be a fit to this role, we can talk about it. She's a really good friend. So it adds a lot of personal touch. So it's like one or two people. It's just like if you go to a house party and you like a potential person over there or you like a girl over there, so and your friend is a really good friend of that girl, so you'll ask your friend, can you introduce me to her. So that's the same concept that applies but in a professional way.